Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys please let me know if you are all hearing me? And I would love to know, where are you guys all from? So let's do that. Hi, Randy. Okay, let me see. Michigan. Hi, Rhonda. Who else is here? Because I see a lot of people. Hi, Ali from Toronto. Awesome. Randy, you are from Charlotte. Sweet. How is Charlotte? Is it super hot right now? '97. Oh my God, that sounds just terrible. Terrible. Oh my God, that's horrible. Hi from Egypt. Oh, very cool. Which part of Egypt are you from? From Giza. I think I pronounced that correct, right? Or Giza. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Oh, that is really great. Hi, Maria from Colorado. Which part of Colorado? I lived in Colorado for a little while. One of my favorite states by far, and by far, one of my favorite states. Curacao, Caribbean. Nice. India, Alkash, Ricky is from Curacao. Curacao, that's it. Oh, close to South America, right? Alkash is India. Oh, from Denver. I lived in Summit County. I lived around Breckenridge. James, you are from South Africa. Very cool. Wow, we have such a diverse crowd. I love it. This time there's more international, seems like, than there are from the US, which is really great. I love to see that. All right, guys. So today I am presenting for you, and I'm really, really excited to be here. But one thing I do want to say is the fact that you guys are coming to these summits, it shows that you really want to learn and just step it up. So even though I will be teaching you some stuff, the goal for me is to answer your questions, right? If you have any questions at all, this is your time to ask, right? Because I always say day trading is not a spectator sport. It's about getting your hands dirty. It's about getting in there. It's about asking those questions. It's not being in the bleachers. It's being on the court playing the game. So when you play the game, there's always going to be different questions. There's going to be challenges, and that's part of the growth, right? So I really would like for you guys to tell me whatever comes up and all your questions. Okay. So remember, anything you have, I promise I will get to all of your questions. Today, what I want to talk about is the futures and scalping. I personally trade the E-minis futures, and I'm a scalper. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about, is the benefits of this, why it's a lot less stressful, why it could be a lot more profitable as well. How do we trade with this volatility? Well, Terry, to be honest with you, since this week, the volatility has really gone down. Have you guys noticed the difference? The volume volatility was out of control like the past couple of months, but now we are officially in summertime. Schools are out. Have you guys noticed that it's a lot less volatility? And that's totally normal. I actually always say June, July, and August up to around Labor Day. Or is it Memorial Day? I always get confused which one is which. Regardless, I'm pretty sure it's Labor Day. That this is the time when we learn patience and discipline, right? Because these months are really important to see that the volatility slows down a lot. So if you have a strong strategy that works, don't change it just because the volatility is different. Just remember that, especially for me, like, because I'm a scalper, my trades usually last between 30 seconds to 3 minutes. With the summer volatility and the volume being a lot less, normally they could last between 3 minutes to 15 minutes. And I just have to know that, understand that, and patience really does win the game when it comes to these months coming up. Okay, so let's get in. Who am I? I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and this is me. So I have a confession to make for you guys. I am a scalper. Like I mentioned before, I am a scalper. And do you guys want to know how I stumbled upon scalping? As always, every big lesson that we learn somehow, unfortunately, usually starts with a huge lesson, a huge mistake, a huge loss, or something like that, right? And that's exactly how stumbling upon scalping happened to me. And for me, the loss came with literally less than 5 minutes. I almost lost $4,000. I was chasing a trade because I was emotional already. I didn't want to permit it to go the wrong way. So I removed my stop. I put in that stupid mental stop that we all pretend that we put in. And I wasn't permitting myself to admit that this was a loser. And within 5 minutes, my entire account was blown, literally. And this wasn't my first time. This is now this was like my third time in 2 months. This was several years ago. But here's the thing. Do you think I would have stopped after that? No. I ended up revenge trading for another 2 days, bringing me extra losses of almost an extra $2,000. And that's when I truly ended up having my official breakdown. Have you guys ever noticed when you have a breakdown, you always have two decisions to make, right? Usually is you quit, you stop whatever it is that brought on that breakdown. In this case, obviously it was my trading, or you have a breakthrough. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Nacho Libre. If you haven't, I really recommend seeing this movie. It is such a funny movie. We are huge, huge fans. And I totally relate with Nacho. Nacho is the main character. Here's how I relate with him. Nacho wants to be a luchador. So in Mexico, they have lucha libre, which is the equivalent of worldwide wrestling. It's a wrestling thing in Mexico. And Nacho, this particular character, desperately wants to be a luchador. He wants to be a wrestler, but he's terrible at it. And there's this one scene in the movie when he's standing in church praying and saying, Lord, why did you give me this passion to be a warrior, but made me so lousy at it? And that's literally how I felt for years when I first began trading. I was like, you gave me this insane passion to be a trader, and I feel so lousy at it. And of course, as with Nacho, Nacho goes on and wins one of the most complicated wrestling matches and becomes the hero. I ended up coming back after I quit. I quit for about 3 or 4 months, and then I had a breakthrough. So what happened was I came back to my charts, and what I realized was, first of all, I had 3 different monitors going on, and I had over 10 indicators going on. I was in constant analysis paralysis. I didn't know what was going on. I was constantly following other people's things that they were saying in chat rooms that I was paying for. I didn't really have a strategy. I was constantly losing. It was going on for years. It was absurd. But every time, one thing I did recognize is every time I asked a question in the chat room, which was pretty basic, right? Hey, can you please explain to me what does this divergence mean? What about these reversal patterns? Or just basic price action questions? I was constantly either ignored or treated as if though I was supposedly born with this information. And when I came back, I literally took 2 of my monitors and I threw them out. They were brand new. I put them out. I don't care if the garbage men took them and are using them today, but I was done. And I stripped my entire charts of all the indicators, right? And I ended up just going back to the basics and studying them for years, just understanding what the market was saying to me. Because if you actually look at the market and listen to it and understand, it speaks to you. It has an actual language. And if you start to read it and listen to it, you could work with the market rather than constantly think you're going to beat the market or predict the market. Neither of those two will ever, ever work. And that's kind of how I ended up stumbling on scalping. So this was about 7 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer. I've been trading now for 10 years. And this was right in the beginning when Facebook groups were just being born. And the thing is with trading is that it's a lonely thing to do. So I was checking out different Facebook groups. I was looking, at this point, I already started to have this system. I decided instead of going for bigger targets, I was going to go for smaller targets, right? Like my target is 1 point, and they were much faster because it's never about the money. You guys need to hear this loud and clear. Day trading is not about the money. And the second you stop thinking like that, that's when you're going to start succeeding. Why isn't it about the money? Because it's about making the right decisions. It's all about decisions. And if you go in for smaller targets and you're getting those targets filled, guess what happens to your confidence? You start to trust yourself more. So if you want to put on paper these romantic, huge targets and never hit them and lose more than you win, guess what's going to happen? Your emotional capital is going to be drained. You're going to be in constant deficit. That means you're never going to be trusting yourself. There's no confidence. So what I started to do is I decided to go for smaller targets. I started to realize that my strategy, if I go for the smaller targets, I will be hitting them more. And what did that mean to me? It meant that I was trusting myself more and trusting my strategy. And the more I did it, the more I started to win. Right. And I didn't know that this was called scalping. So while I was looking online through these Facebook groups, there was one Facebook group and it was called ES Mini Futures. And I was like, okay, I joined it. And it just happened to be a group of about 15, 20 men. And the majority of them were professional e-mini traders. And when I say e-mini traders, first of all, they used to work on the CME, the Chicago Mercantile floor, and the majority of them have now retired and were just trading their own accounts. But their accounts were like 1,000 to 1,000,000 lots, right? Like, so for each one contract, they were putting in thousands of contracts. And they were all scalpers. I didn't know that at the point, but when I started talking about my thing, they're like, oh, great, this is what scalping is. We actually go for even smaller than a point. We go for 3 ticks. And they were killing it. And that's when I also realized, first of all, they were so supportive. They totally helped me. They also were not the type of people you see that were showing off their red Lamborghinis or all this stuff. They were super humble. They were mindful. They were all yogis, meditative, and they were all going for tiny little profits. But they were going in with thousands of contracts. So basically, if one tick is $12.50, but you're going in with thousands of contracts, you do the math. It could be up to 12,000, or more per trade. So that's when I realized that I was a scalper. And what is scalping? Why does it work for me? First of all, I'm going for much quicker targets. I'm not sitting there and dealing with the stress of going for those longer targets. Like I said before, during summer months, the trades are now lasting between 3 to 15 minutes, but during the high volatility season, they are lasting 30 seconds to 3 minutes. So it's fast, it's quick, and it is fun, right? Because otherwise it became not fun at all. Can you make a session on how to set up risk management in an efficient way? I could actually talk about that today, Atal, because it's not complicated. So for me, as a scalper, I go for 1 point target, 1 point risk. What does that mean? It means I put in 1 point, and if it hits that point, and even though it might look like it could bounce off of it, I do not move it. So while I think your name is I can't, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. The problem isn't with people talking about risk management. The problem is that people are putting in mental risk management. So you guys know what a mental risk management is? I'll give it to you in layman's terms. When you sit down in the car with your baby, and instead of putting on the seatbelt, you put in a mental seatbelt, saying to yourself, or I should say, lying to yourself, that when you get into a car accident, you're going to be able to protect that baby. We all know that is a massive lie. What is a mental risk management? Is we will mentally get out. That's a lie. You're putting in a mental seatbelt. So the problem isn't how do we do in an efficient way. The problem is that nobody's putting in that risk management and keeping it there. Nobody's committing to that risk because their ego is still beating them and telling them, no, it's going to turn around, remove your risk. So the problem isn't risk management. The problem is you guys staying away once you put in your risk management. Does that make sense? That's the only problem. The problem isn't, oh, wait, okay, I'm only willing to risk $100 here. No, it's you putting in that risk and committing to it. Can you do that? Once you can do that, that's when you have efficient risk management in place. Okay, so let's do a quick intro. I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and I'm actually coming to you guys right now from Antigua, Guatemala. I am an expat living in Antigua, Guatemala. Before I became a day trader, I used to be a fitness instructor and a travel writer. I was one of the very first fitness instructors in Manhattan, New York, teaching spinning and Pilates. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am. You could figure that one out. Those have been around for quite some time. I'm also trilingual. I am a Soviet Union refugee. I was actually born in Odessa, and I speak Russian fluently. It is my mother tongue, but because I was raised in the United States, English is my main language. And I have now been living as a expat in Central America. We first lived in Costa Rica, now in Guatemala for over 20 years. And the coolest thing about trading, and like I said, once I removed those two other monitors, you could do it from anywhere. Travel is not a luxury for me and my family. It's a necessity. Like, as a matter of fact, we were supposed to be on a plane today in a few hours, but we all got COVID. So I just moved that over to Saturday. We're leaving to go to Spain and the United States on Saturday. So yeah, to us, day trading, for me, day trading is part of my lifestyle. And I've also been featured on quite a lot of live shows. So before COVID, I used to go and do a lot of live shows like Money Show, Traders Expo, but now I love doing these online virtual shows simply because I could talk to a lot more people, and I really enjoy that. So before we get in, I want to talk about the basics of trading, because this will change everything for you. And I guarantee you will come out up leveling and taking your trading to another level. Before I do the entire presentation that I have here, and I know that David is going to send a replay, I have a free presentation worksheet for you that you could follow along. So make sure you go to makingofadaytrader.com. Go to makingofadaytrader.com. Okay, go here. The entire presentation that I'm about to give you is here, and it's completely free. Makingofadaytrader.com. All right, WL, do you find Antigua one of the better places to live in Central America? Yes, I do. We lived in Costa Rica before. I prefer Antigua. we've been now living here for 13 years. I literally raised my kids here. I find the community here to be absolutely amazing. So it's a small community of international people, expats. It's just wonderful. I would really, really recommend you guys, if you want to, for sure. Yeah, I love Antigua. You could actually email me if you want. You could go to my site, traderchick.com. Email me if you want more information about being an expat here. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get in. First and foremost, you cannot be a Formula One driver in a minivan. You cannot be a day trader if you are scrolling on Robinhood. Really, you need to have a platform. I now have only 2 indicators. Like I said before, I had 10 indicators. I was in constant analysis paralysis, because here's the thing, guys. A lot of people, they're all over the place watching this YouTuber, that YouTuber, this trader, that trader, in this live chat room, this one, and everybody's got all these different indicators, and they put them all on their charts. And when they come to me to work with me, they're like, oh, I have all these indicators. What do you think of this one, this one, this one? I'm like, it's not about what I think. What do you think? Is it working for you? And they're like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'm like, well, you got to test it out. Just because if it's working for this guy doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. So after I came back with my epiphany, I removed all the indicators, and I realized that 2 indicators worked best for me: the MACDs and my EMA lines. Those are my 2 favorite. Now, market movement and the trends. This is crucial. We all know that there are 3 different types of trends, right? We know that there's an upward trend. We know that there's a downward trend. And we logistically know that there is a sideways trend. But the thing is with sideways trends is that that is literally where the majority of our money gets lost. Why? Because this is the indecision zone, the chop. This is a place where people don't know what's happening next, and they're just trying to predict or beat the market, and they always end up losing. All right, so we have to understand the difference with these trending markets, right? Downward, upward, sideways. All right, what's an upward trend? It's pretty basic stuff, right? Each pivot is higher than the next, right? This is called the bull market. This is the market trending up. This is where you are going long. Okay, what does that mean when you're going long? That means you are buying at a higher price point, at a lower price point, and you're exiting at a higher price point, and you're taking the profit in between. What is a downward trend? It's when each pivot is lower than the next. You are shorting the market. You are selling. What does that mean? It means you are entering at a higher price point, exiting at a lower price point, and taking the profit in between. This is when the market is trending down, market is going down. All right, now let's talk about those consolidation areas, those transition areas. This is where I call the trader's worst enemy. And we need to, as retail individual traders, know when to spot them and how to avoid them. Most importantly of all, we have to respect them because the market respects them, right? So what are these areas? It's these channels, it's these consolidation areas, right? When there's absolutely no real movement. Do you guys see any movement going on here? No. Do you really want to be putting your money on this? Why? Why would you put your hard-earned money into such indecision zones, into such areas? I'll tell you why. Because day trading is an emotional activity. And when you are seeing something like this, you're starting to tell yourself nonsense stories. What does that mean? It means if you are a trend is your friend kind of a trader, that means you're looking at this consolidation area and you're saying, you know what, the market's been going up all day. I'm going to keep going long. Or you're the contrarian style trader and you're looking at this market, you know what, this market's been going up all day. It's got to correct. I'm going for a short. So let me give you a wake up call, guys. Those are lies. They're stories. They're not real because the only thing that is real is that the market is doing nothing. And if you are a professional trader, you will respect that and you will not be going in at all. That is the most important thing of all. When you see something like this, you get out of your head and you're saying to yourself, you know what? This is an indecision area. I'm not touching this market. So what do? You sit on your hands. Okay. And you could have a lot of these types of consolidations. For me, mini consolidations are important because I'm a scalper. I only go for a small little amount of target. So that means this would totally stop me out. Right. So now we're going to talk about how to outline these areas so that we respect them with the market. What are these areas? Support and resistance areas. All right, let's talk about support and resistance areas. Here is the resistance. Here is the support. This is where we draw them out. So I want to tell you a little bit more of how I look at support and resistance areas. This is your safety gear for trading. Okay. It is a known fact that 25% of Formula One drivers during racing season either have an accident or a fatality. Now, if you ever watched Formula One driving, have you ever noticed the drivers before they get in their car, they've got a helmet on, they've got their fireproof uniform on, they get in and they buckle up on top of many other safety gears, right? Because they're not stupid. They know that they need to protect themselves. Yet, we know as traders, 95% fail, yet they still put in their stupid mental stops and they put in mental resistance areas and mental support areas. It completely blows my mind how people don't care about their money. I always say they're just donating their money to the market because you know what? You might as well donate it to places where they really need it. I can tell you right now, Guatemala, there's quite a lot of people that could use that money that you're about to donate simply because you don't want to draw in a resistance area, an area that will protect you, support area, your risk management. Why? Why is it that our ego permits us to constantly sabotage ourselves? So here we're going to learn about this. This is so important. What is a resistance area? It is an area that is revisited 3 or 4 more times. It is the ceiling of the market. It is where the trend is going up and it keeps on hitting a ceiling. It keeps on hitting this wall, the resistance area. Okay, so what happens? Because there's the areas already defined, chances are you're not going to be the genius that breaks it. So you need to wait until the market breaks it. And that's when you can get into a confirmed trade rather than just winging it and donating more money to the market. Okay, so you need to draw this in. Every single charting software, I don't care what charting software you're using, will give you a drawing tool, either a line or a rectangle, whatever, but you do not have an excuse to put in a mental area. What is a support area? It is literally the opposite. It is the floor of the market. It is where the market is hitting over and over and over again. Over and over again. This is respected. The market is hitting this area over and over again. That means you need to respect that area, because it could be a place where it changes direction entirely or breaks through it. But you cannot guess it because you don't have that capability. All right. So you need to draw these areas out so that you are prepared and understand. And this way you also see when there's a channel. Look at this. Look at this ugliness. Do you really want to be putting your money into this? Do you really know where the market is going to go? No, look at this mess. It's amazing to me that traders just keep, or people who want to be traders, keep on putting their money into this kind of ugliness simply because they can't be bothered, or they think they're better than the market and not putting in their resistance and support areas, the most basic kind of indicators, and they are free. They are free on any charting software. Instead, they would prefer to buy softwares and indicators and algorithms, but yet they don't do the most basic ones of all that could truly protect you. Now, how do we start to spot when these areas even begin? Through reversal areas and divergences. I call these the trader's map to shift in direction and trends. What are reversal areas and divergences? What are reversal areas? Double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders. Okay? These areas are, they tell you everything. So what is it? Here is a reversal pattern. No, reversal pattern is not 100%. It is, though, a very high potential indicator telling you that the market is slowing down, that it is coming to a massive pause, and you need to sit out and wait until it gives you the extra confirmation. All right. So just because you see a reversal pattern does not mean that it is going to reverse. What it is telling you is stop. And when you see divergence and reversal pattern, that tells you even louder, stay out until I tell you what I'm about to do next. What is divergence? As you can see here, the price action is moving up, right? But my MACDs are showing me that the market is starting to lose steam. And what is it showing me here? Boom, that it is losing steam. It is declining, right? So you need to understand that. And when you have a double bottom right here, and this perfect right here, this perfect divergence, I am staying out until I get full confirmation. All right, so let's put this all together. Like I said before, I have this entire presentation for you guys right here, makingofadaytrader.com. Go here to get it completely free, makingofadaytrader.com. Now, when you draw in your resistance and support areas and you get a breakthrough, what happens? We can then spot one of the most powerful trades of all time, and that is a breakout trade. We all know that breakout trades are probably the most highest probable trades out there, but if you don't have your support or resistance areas drawn, you're going to miss out on this trade, right? So what is a breakout trade? Here we are going in one direction, and then we have this area. It could be the exact same thing for support area, because day trading, we could go up or down. It does not matter, right? So let me explain to you about a breakout so you guys really get the idea. Imagine you are right here driving on a highway and you're going north, but all of a sudden the highway is under construction and there's a massive detour construction area. This is that indecision zone, in an area where you're lost, you don't know where you are, you're just hoping that the detour signs keep on coming up because you don't know where you're at, right? This is an indecision zone, but all of a sudden the construction worker stands by the highway exit and says, okay, guys, you can continue the same way, and you get back on that highway with massive confidence and continue. That's the breakout. All right, you're driving, massive detour, you don't know where you're going, and boom, you fly on up. Okay. Yeah, Pete, it is makingofadaytrader.com. Okay, makingofadaytrader.com. All right, guys. So let's focus a little bit more on the breakout trades and how I personally work with it. So here is my massive resistance area. As you can see here, the MACDs, I personally find the MACDs to be the least lagging indicator out there. So this dotted line, this is the zero line. This is when there's no energy, no strength in the market. And look at this. It's flat, completely flat. And then boom, it flies up. Look at this massive move, massive. And then it retraces to my EMA lines. I use my EMA lines for my entries. What does that mean? Have you ever seen archery, an archery competition? Have you ever noticed that the archers, they don't walk around aimlessly, right? Around the field. They have very specific areas where they stand and they shoot their arrows from, right? It's the same thing with trading. You need to know where you're putting in your order weighting. You cannot do market entry. Why? Because several reasons. If you put in a market entry, that means you're telling the market that you don't know what you're doing. Why? Because what you're telling the market is, you know what? This kind of looks like a good idea. I think I'm going to just go for it. The market knows that, and the market fines you for it. They penalize you for it. Do you know how? With slippage. Have you guys heard of slippage? Slippage is it takes a percentage off right away. So for instance, if you're seeing the market do something and you think it's a good idea and it's you want to enter it at, let's say, $1, but because you're just going market in, you just entered at $1.25 because the market is saying, you know what, this guy's an amateur, forget it, I'm going to penalize him 25%. But if you know what you're doing, you're telling the market, you know what, this is where I want you to enter me. This is where I want to enter the market. This is where I want to be filled. And when the market does fill you, it fills you at the exact price you want to go. And it's the same thing for risk management. When you put in that stupid mental stop, how do you get out? You normally get out with a market stop. Again, boom. Number one, the market's like, you know what? This guy doesn't have a clue what they're doing. It didn't tell me where their risk is. So I'm just going to penalize them and give them 25%, even more, less than what they're already losing. I'm going to give them even less. I'm going to take another 25% away. So you guys have to be professionals. You need to put in that market, that limit order, which is put in the order where you want them to enter, and you always have to have a stop loss in place. All right. Another bonus setup that I use, which is the opposite of a breakout. Like I said before, you have to have your areas defined. So when you have these areas defined and when it finally shifts direction, and you could see here, because now on the MACDs is giving you all this massive movements right here, massive beautifulness, boom, you could get in as early as possible on that new trend and then take it for a much further ride. So here's the thing, guys, with new trends. I'm going to explain to you why being as early as possible in a new trend is the best way to go. Imagine you want to go jogging, right? You put on your jogging shorts, you put on your jogging shoes, you get out the door, you are full of energy. If I was to bet on you going for 2 miles, I would do it right then, right? I would not do it 2 miles into your run when you're already kind of slowing down, you're thirsty, you're not sure if you want to continue. That's the new trend. That's when you have the most amount of energy. Okay, so let's go in for a little bit of a market analysis. Okay, can you guys see my charts? Let me know if you're able to see my charts. Let me know. Are you guys able to see my charts? Hello, hello, hello. Awesome. Okay, so before I get in, I had a couple of questions of my indicators and my time frame. So as I said before, I trade the E-mini future, right? This is the ES. We are right now on the September contract. So right now, this is what the E-mini futures looks like. I do not trade in a time frame. I use ticks. Okay, so what is ticks? You see it right here? I have the 610 tick chart. So what does that mean? It means for every single bar, I know in real time, right in front of me how many transactions are happening. You can see right here, I said 6 remaining. So each candlestick has 610 real life transactions happening. So because I like to simplify my charts, I don't use the volume indicator. The volume indicator is considered to be one of the worst and most lagging indicators. So I cut that out because I know exactly what is going on and the kind of volatility right there in front of me. You can use this on any instrument. It does not have to be on the E-minis only. It could be anywhere. And the majority of charting platforms do offer tick charts. Okay, so that's it right there. Now, somebody else asked me about my indicator setups. So here, you could guys just take a screenshot if you want. Or like I said, makingofadaytrader.com, you will get this entire presentation. So I use 3 EMAs. I use the 52 EMA, I use the 20 EMA, and I use the 135 EMA. And my MACDs, I use the most universal parameters. The thing is with MACDs, it comes in 3 plots. It's the actual MACDs, it's the average and the difference. I find that the average and the difference is just white noise. I don't like it. It's just, not really giving me the information that I need. So I have made it transparent. On other charts, you could either make it invisible, transparent, or completely delete it altogether. So this is where I'm at right here. Okay. Let me know if I answered your guys' questions about my charts. Right. I think, yeah. Okay. So now here is my chart. So as you can see, I really follow with my resistance support area. Look at that. To the tick, it hit it, right? So when I already have this set up, I'm already ready for it, because when it stops, I'm already ready for it right there. Okay. And here was another support area, and boom, it went through. I would have had this amazing breakout trade until it hit that area. So that's a big deal. But if I don't draw that in, I would never know it's there, right? Let me know if you guys are understanding, if there's any other questions in the meantime. Here, I'm going to show you a nice reversal pattern. Here is a head and shoulders, right? Boom, and it changed direction on me right there, right? Look at this. Beautiful double top, boom, with divergence. And look at that, it changed before it continued. Another head and shoulders right here. I mean, I live for reversal patterns because they are so, look at this one, perfect double bottom, totally stopped the market, and then it changed direction. Another double top right here. All right, guys, these are free. They are so easy to spot. Okay. Why not? Because when I was started learning, it was 610, and then I used to actually use 610 tick chart. I use the 233 tick chart, and I use the 1597 tick chart. Remember, I said I had 3 monitors, and then I just put them all together. So now all my 3 EMAs are right here. Lexus, this is Ninja Trader. This is not Metaphor platform, but you could certainly use Metaphor platform, no problem. All platforms are the same, guys, as long as you have live feed and you have good indicators. Okay. Do you know if all indicators work with tick charts? Absolutely. The thing is, not all charting platforms have tick charts. So indicators, they're just universal. One indicator never has anything to do with the other indicator. They are not related at all. You could choose whichever indicators you want. Tick charts, on the other hand, I know that TradingView does not use tick charts. If you're a coder, you could certainly set it up. But people who don't have access to tick charts, I think 1 minute to 3 minute charts are probably the closest to tick charts, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Let me know, guys, if there's any other questions. And you can see here, I would be setting myself up for a breakout trade right there. All right, guys, let's continue on with the presentation. So here's the reality. we have everything we need to take action, right? We have everything. We've got the YouTubers, these presentations, books, you name it. But the reality is, how do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know that you are doing it right? Who's there to help you with that? And all of this is great, but the real question you probably ask yourself is, how do I really get started? And this isn't from beginners only. This is from seasoned traders who have been trading for years and are still losing money. And I'm asked this all the time, what can I do to turn this around to be profitable consistently? Because it's all about the long game. It's not about that one-off quickie by lucky chance, right? We want to continue doing this. And I found, and I still find to this day, the majority of the problems really begin by lacking understanding of those basics, right? Of just getting back to the simple things, because we believe that we have to get these algorithms and shiny, indicators and all that. And that's not the case. We just have to understand the basics. We have to read what the market is telling us because it talks to us loud and clear. It's literally like when you get into a car, what we forget, because the majority of us have been driving for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that when we first sat down in the car, we didn't know the basics of the car. We didn't know how to use the steering wheel. We didn't know where the brakes were, where the clutch was, where the accelerator was, where the gear shift was, right? We learned that. Today, when we get in, it is just completely automatic for us. It's the basics. Now, imagine you've never been in a car and you sit down in a car and the person's telling you, all right, you got to put on your seatbelt. It will save your life. But you've never been in a car. You don't know what a seatbelt is. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, this thing is going to save my life, but I don't know where it is. That is the basics. We forget that, right? But without that, we would not be saving ourselves. We would not be protecting ourselves. We would not let our kids in the car, right? But before we sat there and somebody actually showed us where and how to use it, we didn't know what it was, right? And this was my sad truth. I spent over $20,000 on my trainings. Yet for years, I was constantly struggling and losing money because nobody taught me where the seatbelt was. Nobody taught me that this was what's going to protect me. And I ended up losing, like I said, almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. And I ended up quitting. But here's the reality. And I know this is the reality. And every single person that's sitting here today with me right now is that we are all bit by the trading bug. We are all bit by it and it never stops itching. And do you know why? Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. We know that we can do this. We see other people doing it, so we know that we can do this, right? So I knew that I could do this. And that's when I decided to get back to those basics. So interestingly enough, a little while ago, one of my students says to me, he's like, Marina, your teaching style is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I'm like, who's Coach John Wooden? I've never heard of the guy. And so, of course, I started to research him. And this guy is a legend. He's a legend. He's not around anymore, but he was a basketball coaching legend. And his entire philosophy and teaching philosophy was, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy won 88 national championships, 10 NCAAs. He trained the superstars of basketball. These guys were superstars for years. But every time they started a new season, he would start with the basics: how to tie your shoelace, how to roll up your socks, how to dribble the ball. Because here's the reality, guys, and I get this resistance from a lot of people. I don't care about these, it's all about the charts and the algorithms. I don't care how much you think you know or how much a pro basketball thinks he knows, because if you are not tying your shoelace correctly or rolling up your sock, your shoe could fall off while you're on the court, sprain your ankle, give you a blister, and guess what? You're out for the whole season because your ego is telling you that you're too good to learn the basics. Don't be that person. Learn those basics. I guarantee you, I make a promise to you, if you know the basics, you will become a good professional trader. I know that for a fact. And for that, I have a very special offer for participants only for you guys that are here with us today. Nobody else at all gets this special deal. I have my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. You could do this course on any apparatus, on desktop, laptop, tablets, phones, Androids, iPhones, it doesn't matter. And all this is for $97. You could go for bootcampfordaytrading.com. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. One-time payment, $97. What can you get for $97 that will bring you the same return on investment? A day golfing, it doesn't even cost that anymore, right? I think $97 maybe will get you in the door, just you, who you're going to be playing with. Alone? How about taking your friends out for lunch? I know for a fact, even in Antigua, lunch is not even $97 anymore. $97, all right? So let me break this down for you for bootcampfordaytrading.com. This is what you guys are going to be getting in this course. Simplifying day trading package. Understanding that. And the number one thing that I find that people are struggling with in the beginning is setting up their platform. I have so many people that don't even know how to use their platform and going live and losing because they can't figure out how to get into a trade, how to sell, how to get out, simply because they don't understand how to set up their platform. I am giving you in this 30-minute tutorial, we set it up together so you never have to worry about it at all, so that you can get to the good stuff, the actual trading. Then we dive into dissecting those markets, the uptrends, the sideways trends, the downwards trends, because if you don't fully grasp those areas, you're not going to be able to do well, especially in sideways markets. And we're going to talk about those magic telltale signs, reversal areas, and divergences. Once you guys get that, I promise you will be able to see the market in such a great way. It is going to be your biggest aha moment. Reversal patterns, understanding those telltale signs, spotting those support and resistance areas, and then using them with divergence. It will change your entire game. Understanding this, you will now be able to sit out, hold on to your winnings so that you can enter more profitable trades. And some of the most profitable trades is the breakout trade, right? Also, there's the fake out breakouts. We're going to learn how to avoid them as well, because those could really get you and take a lot of your money. And on top of that, you have full unlimited access to the curriculum, which is priceless for life. All of this is valued at $1,600, right? All this, you get the pre-quote framework, the market anatomy process, the defense zone strategies, the breakout mastery, all this. And here's what some of my students have to say. And I have students from all over the world, because that's the coolest thing with trading. You could do it from anywhere in the world. Here's what Michelle says: best money I ever spent. I absolutely understand what I'm doing, and I had it all wrong beforehand. You are the only mentor that I know checks all the work. I am enjoying your bootcamp. I am learning every day. So let me share something super important with you. Like I said before, how do you know you're doing it right? Who is there for you to be accountable for? How do you know you're doing it right? So what I am doing in this one-time price of $97, no extra price, it is not a membership, you will get one entire month free, one-on-one mentorship coaching with me, unlimited, because I want to be able to help you guys fully understand that you are doing it right and making sure that you are doing it right. And on top of that, because having that mentor is what's going to get you to that top. The best part is I also have a free trial, free membership for my live trade chat room. I have a weekly live trade chat room. It's just me. It is not some moderator. It's not somebody that I hired. It's me in the live trade chat room. So on top of the coaching, which is totally separate, you also sit with me live. We're watching trades, taking trades together on top of that for one free month. And that is all included in all this. So this whole value is $2,600, but for you guys today only, $97 one-time price. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go here right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. WL, he's not football, he's basketball. So before you go and say that, please check it out line. You'll know for a fact that he was a basketball coach. Bobby, I use time frames. How can I benefit? So Bobby, I just said that the closest time frame that relates to my 610 tick chart is 1 or 3 minute time chart. That's the closest to the 610 tick chart. Okay. So remember, guys, bootcampfordaytrading.com. So here's what you guys get for $97. Everything mentioned in the course. 30 days, one-on-one mentorship with me, live coaching, and 30 days live chat room membership with me being live. Now, here's the real reality check. We all know that $97 is way less than the average trade you guys take, right? And just the return on your investment in this will be 10x because of that. So $97, and you could go and take out your friends 100 times like this from this one time here. But here's the thing, guys. Because of my one-on-one mentorship, I can only take 25 people. I cannot take on more than that because of my commitment levels to you guys. Okay, so make sure you guys get in now. This is only available to the people here on the site. I mean, on the presentation right now. This is what you will get when you go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. This is the order form that you guys will go for. Here, let me show you right here. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. This is where you go. This is the order form that you guys are going to see. And to be honest with you, you can get started with $59 of 2 payments, right? I mean, this is a no-brainer, guys. No-brainer. You get to work with me for one entire month, $97 one-time price. So go here right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Can I do? Yes, the whole course is self-studied. You tell me when you guys want to do the mentorship, okay? When you want to do that. But the live chat room, obviously that is structured. So you can join in. If you cannot join in, you have access to all the replays. And we're now talking like 120 classes of replays that you have full access to. All right, guys. So here you are, bootcampfordaytrading.com. That the $27 thing is totally different. It's for people that are already trading. So bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go here right now. Again, this is only offered for the people on this presentation with us today, because I really value the fact that you guys made it here today and took that time, because time is our most important commodity. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here with us. So this is a time for you guys to ask me questions. And remember, once you join, you work with me for a month, you get to be part of the live trade chat room of an awesome community as well. So let me please know your email for info on Antigua. Well, the Trader Chick, no, it's thetraderchick.com. You could go there. Here, the thetraderchick.com is my site. Oops, hang on, I'm not doing that right. So yes, thetraderchick.com. All right, guys, let me know if there's any other questions, and you go for bootcampfordaytrading.com. $97. Honestly, you cannot go wrong. Are you guys ready? I'm excited to work with you guys. So hopefully we'll see you. Terry, if you're going to be focusing only on your money back guarantee, you know what? Why don't you ask your brokers why there's no money back guarantee? $97 is a no-brainer, guys. You're welcome to put in that money into the market and keep on donating it. There you go. Thank you, Ricky. I really, really appreciate this. And maybe it's time to stop looking at how to get your money back and how to scrunch and actually start to really learn. Okay. All right, guys. My children are learning, and so is my husband right now, all with me. So it's been actually kind of cool. All right, guys. I'm hoping to see you all in the course and see you there. All these other questions you could send to me at thetraderchick.com, and I'm happy to answer them. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. And thank you again, everybody, for being here and spending this afternoon with us. Thank you, Dave, so much for having me as well. I really appreciate it. Thanks, David.